Welcome back to another UNC Tar Heels football recruiting podcast here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. And if you're checking us out on our growing YouTube channel, that is Tar Heel Illustrated. I am THI publisher Andrew Jones, and joining me is our director of football recruiting, Miss Dina King. And Dina, the Tar Heels held their annual football recruiting cookout yesterday, Saturday. They got a commitment from somebody who is confirmed to us today that he will be the first member of the class of 2023 to the Tar Heels. We're here to discuss Tad Hudson, the quarterback from Huff High School in Cornelius, North Carolina. He is the first member of the class of 2023 to pop for Mac Brown and the Tar Heels. This didn't surprise you. We heard about something was brewing yesterday, and you've told me for a while you thought Tad would be the guy. Very quickly before you talk about him, 6'3", 221 pounds. He also has offers from Auburn, Tennessee, South Carolina, and many others. And let's also remember, not everybody in the class of 2023 has been graded fully yet by Rivals.com. Tad has not been given a star rating yet. When he does, we expect he will be a 4-star kid. So your thoughts on Tad Hudson being the first member of the class of 23 for the Tar Heels?
Well, it's a big one. A quarterback, the quarterback is usually your high-profile guy. So he made a decision. I talked to him earlier today, and everything he said, everything he's always said about UNC has been great. The coaching staff, he loves Coach Longo, loves what Coach Brown is doing there at UNC. And with the history North Carolina's had here the last 4 to 5 years, quarterback-wise, in the state of North Carolina, they got Sam Howell, they have Drake May. And now they have another Jefferson Boaz, and now they got Tad Hudson, and he's big because he is from 1 in-state kid, 2 in the Charlotte area, 3 he plays on probably the most prolific high school team in North Carolina that produces D1 talent in Huff there in Cornelius. They just constantly Charlotte schools have been very good at producing D1 talent. Now Huff has kind of taken the reins over that. So big day for UNC. They got them a great place to start the class of 2023.
We ran an intro on him in February of 2020. And you told me at that time, let's just keep a close eye on him. He's a kid that you envision down the road, maybe being North Carolina, certainly being a prospect the staff would go after hard. Then last year, when Drake May flipped from Alabama, committed to North Carolina, you said, okay, you think Tad Hudson very well could be the next in the pecking order. What is it about him during this whole time that you kind of thought all along, this kid's probably going to end up at North Carolina?
He's different than kind of what Carolina has had in quarterbacks. He's a bigger kid than all the others. Body-wise, frame-wise.
Big dude.
Yeah, we saw him at Showtime. He's more or less a pocket passer. All the quarterback, Sam, mobile. We know Jacoby is mobile. Drake is very mobile. I mean, Drake's going to surprise people the way he can escape and can run the ball. Boaz did the same way, even being 6'8", he's pretty nimble for his size. So Tad, strong arm. That's one thing we talked about. Strong arm, can throw the ball. Oh,
he can make all the throws. We saw him at Showtime 6 weeks ago. And one of the things, and you and I were sitting next to each other watching the quarterbacks for a while, and Connor Harrell was there, and he committed about 9 days later. One of the things that immediately jumped out to me, seeing Tad Hudson in person for the first time, was he can make all the throws, Dina. He throws over the top nicely, but he hits all that slanting stuff really well. Very nice ball. It's a tight ball. It's a hard ball. He's got some zip on it, some Mitch Trubisky zip, and that's a good thing. That's what you want in this fine grass offense. So from a passing perspective, he looks to me like the perfect fit for it.
Well, with this cookout, I guess he just, the kids, especially the 22 and the 23 kids, Carolina hasn't had a commit in the 23 class. So if they want to be a part of what's going on in Chapel Hill, you gotta make decisions. And I think basically he probably went to Chapel Hill with his family and made that decision yesterday, being around all those kids. I'm calling them kids, they're still kids, all that talent there. I mean, it was just, we've talked about, I mean, this may be the biggest amount of talent in one space that Carolina's ever brought in down at Chapel Hill at one place. That
High
is
end
not
talent.
game related, just recruiting.
Yeah, just high end talent. And I think the real huge thing here is we've talked for a while. We think they're going to bring in a full class in 2023. That means probably 25 kids. If the first dude you bring in is eventually going to be a 4-star quarterback, then you just build around it. I mean, that's the tree, and you add all the little decorations, all the ornaments to that tree. Those kids know
There's some
who's going to be.
decorations.
Those kids, yes, and those kids know who's going to be chucking them the ball. This is a brilliant, outstanding way to start your class of 23 if you're North Carolina.
He is in that Carolina Stars 7-on-7. Another one under Anthony Boone, who we've done talked about, has been a tutor for Sam and Drake. That Carolina Stars program, you know, it's a who's who that they get to play for them. I mean, there's several other targets at Carolina, 23 targets receiving guys that play for them. I mean, you mentioned it could bolster the UNC's recruiting attempts on kids like Christian Hamilton, wide receiver from Hickory Ridge, Noah Rogers, wide receiver from Roseville. You know, those type kids. They want to know who's going to be their quarterback, and you know, your quarterback is usually your big time guy, your leader, and so. This is just huge for UNC to land someone like him.
Well, every kid that North Carolina brings in the rest of the way of the class of 2023, they don't have to ask who's going to be the quarterback in this class. They already know. His name is Tad Hudson from Huff High School in Cornelius, North Carolina. He is the first member of the class of 2023 to commit to the Tar Heels, and there's going to be a lot more after him and a lot more kids that are highly touted just like him. For Dina King, I'm Andrew Jones. Thanks for stopping by.